After the college entrance exam, my childhood sweetheart Willow was decisively dumped by a poor student. Everyone present felt sorry for her, but instead of getting angry, she looked relaxed and said, "At worst, I'll just marry someone rich. Anyway, I was planning to go abroad with George. This just means I can wrap up the fun and focus." The crowd suddenly understood and rushed to congratulate me for finally getting what I wanted. After all, I'd been her simp since childhood. Getting this reply made me so happy I almost went crazy. I really am about to lose my mind. Just now, Willow's most hated rival sent me a threatening message. "Last night you got drunk and took advantage of me all over. And today you're planning to take her abroad with you. Are you messing with me?" Then she added, "Looks like I'll have to pay a visit to your parents to discuss how you play around and then abandon girls." Oh, almost forgot. Anna is not a casual girl. Chapter 1. My dad has a saying that's very popular among the wealthy. Out of 10 women, 9 know how to PUA. A wife must be raised from childhood. He and my mom were childhood sweethearts. From a young age, he noticed her beauty and character and pursued her relentlessly. In the end, with the support of a virtuous wife, my dad climbed his way to success, became a first-generation entrepreneur, and gave my mom the wedding of the century. Their assets, movable and immovable, are simply countless. With his arm around my mom's shoulders, my dad warned me, "Puppy love isn't a problem, but if you dare be a simp, I'll break your legs." I almost cried. Easy for him to say. TV dramas and novels are full of sweet childhood romances. My life is full of toxic women and gold diggers. Not a single one of the rich daughters I grew up with has a normal mind. Watching all this just leaves me speechless. Then a light bulb went off in my head. I'd infiltrate their circle and filter them in reverse. I picked the dumbest witch among these childhood friends, Willow, and I followed her around like a shadow. From elementary school all the way to high school. She said east. I'd never go west. I simped hard. Everyone thought I saw her as my future wife. Willow always looked both annoyed and smug. She said, "George, you're a good guy, but you're not my type." Every time, I'd nod, pretend to be disappointed, and walk away alone. That's when Willow's friends, who secretly gossiped about me being a disgusting simp, would send me messages saying, "You're such a good person. Why cling to one tree and give up the whole forest?" I laughed. If Willow was a witch, weren't her friends the same? All I had to do was use her as the center, draw a circle with her little clique as the radius, and avoid anyone close to her. Instead, those who annoyed Willow were my potential targets. Very luckily, Willow met the rival she hated most in 17 years, the school beauty, Anna. She had the looks of an untouchable flower on a high mountain. Though her family background was ordinary, she collected scholarships from every competition with ease. What bothered Willow most was that Anna was childhood friends with Makoto, a poor but handsome and hard-working guy. He was aloof toward her, which made him stand out in Willow's eyes as a refreshing presence. So she started approaching Makoto first. She didn't care about my feelings, and worse, to stop Makoto and Anna from getting closer, she egged me on to pursue Anna. My eyes instantly lit up. Just what I wanted. Chapter 2. I had been observing Anna for a while. She was tall, with a slim waist and long legs. During the school performance, when the hem of her dress lifted slightly, it revealed her slender, fair legs, like melting snow in early spring. Most of the time, she was quietly working on problems, her long lashes trembling as those peach blossom eyes focused with intensity. Whenever she sank into thought, her cheeks would quietly flush with a rosy tint, like dusk softly staining the sky. As for the character traits I valued most, I couldn't tell much yet, so I went to Makoto. He thought I had come to cause trouble and immediately clarified, "I have nothing to do with Willow." I chuckled and said, "I want to pursue Anna. I came to ask you about her." Makoto narrowed his shrewd eyes slightly and tried to brush me off. "That's not really appropriate, is it?" I immediately handed him a thick envelope. I said, "Payment." His attitude changed instantly. "I'll tell you everything I know. Even if you want to know the color of her underwear, I can climb up to her balcony." I was speechless. Case closed. He was a money grubber. Childhood friendship was just something he'd sell out for cash. Makoto told me that although Anna was cold toward people, she loved small animals. She often went to feed the stray cats in the woods behind the school. Looking at Anna's overall outstanding qualities, I was very satisfied. The next day, I brought cat food and, coincidentally, ran into her at the back mountain. She was half squatting, absent-mindedly stroking a fat orange cat that purred in comfort. Sunlight filtered through the trees and fell across her delicate, bright profile. I could almost smell a lingering and enchanting scent of jasmine. I smiled and greeted her. What a coincidence, Anna. She didn't even bother to lift her head. Her voice was indifferent. Not a coincidence. I saw you with Makoto earlier. Don't drag him into your messy love games. I was stunned for a moment and asked, "You like him too?" Anna lifted her eyelids coldly and said, "Then your so-called liking is shallow indeed." Instead of getting angry, I was even more satisfied. The more unreachable a woman appeared, the softer her heart must be inside. I crouched down too, reaching to pet the cat. My fingers brushed hers as she quickly pulled her hand back. Anna's brows knit slightly, her beautiful eyes showing a trace of displeasure. I looked back at her and said, word by word, "I went to him because I want to pursue you." Anna's gaze grew colder. She was smart, instantly understanding all the twists and turns behind it. With an icy detachment, she said, "Sorry, but I have no time to play your games." Chapter 3. Even if she didn't believe me, I really wasn't playing around. After that, whenever Anna lifted her eyes, she would always see my smiling face. There's an old saying, you don't hit someone who's smiling. When her patience was about to run out, I launched the second phase. I seized every chance to get closer to her, showing eagerness and attentiveness. During another accidental encounter, the moment she saw me, she stood up to leave, but by chance, a calico cat tripped her. She was about to fall right into my arms. How could I miss such a heaven-sent opportunity? I immediately spread my arms wide, ready to catch her. But at that very moment, she instinctively swerved to the side to avoid me, and ended up falling hard to the ground. I watched helplessly as she tumbled into the grass, her elbow scraping against the ground until the skin broke. Our eyes met, hers glaring at me, filled with a resentful sharpness. I quickly crouched down and said, "Did that hurt? Don't cry. I'll carry you to the infirmary right now." The moment Anna heard this, she bit her lip and stood up immediately. She said, "No need, I'm fine." But her swollen, reddened knees betrayed her stubbornness. In the end, she wrapped her arms around my neck, and obediently let me carry her on my back. My face lit up with joy as I whispered, "Anna, you're really light." Her body trembled, her breath brushing against my ear as she softly hissed, "Shut up." She was probably embarrassed. Her voice came out a bit sharp, and her cheeks flushed red. Chapter 4. I told Anna that my name would move closer to hers, step by step, just like I was doing. She said she didn't believe it, but Makoto told me that Anna, who normally never paid attention to the rankings, stopped to look at them for the first time. Her gaze scanned from top to bottom, and then lingered on the name George for a long while. At the corner of her lips was a curve she herself hadn't even noticed. I was so happy that I sent Makoto another transfer. Makoto cried out that it was too much, but decided to grit his teeth and give up this year's chance of co-hosting the school anniversary with Anna, and hand it over to me. Since Anna and Makoto were both outstanding in grades and appearance, and also neighbors who could practice easily together, the school usually let the two of them host big events. So when Anna saw me at Makoto's house, she pressed her lips together and said, "As expected, it's you again." Feigning helplessness, I replied, "You don't want to see me, then I'll leave." Anna gave a cold snort and answered, "No need, since you're already here." Thanks to all the coincidences I had engineered, running into me had become part of her daily life. She probably didn't even realize it herself, that from the initial resistance and rejection to now being used to it, she had already grown accustomed to my presence. Makoto stuck his head out and explained the whole situation with a laugh. After a long silence, Anna asked, "You gave him money, didn't you?" Somewhat surprised, I asked, "How did you know?" She said, "What do you think?" Rolling her eyes, she added, "If it weren't for the stipend that comes with hosting, do you think he would have agreed?" I teased her on purpose. "So you really do know him quite well." Just as I was about to get up and leave, Anna leaned closer and handed me a piece of chocolate. She said softly, "I spent the whole morning making this. Try it and see if it suits your taste." It was as if she was trying to say something unspoken. The corners of my lips curled up. I was in an incomparably good mood. After revising the hosting script, Makoto's grandmother was especially warm and insisted on keeping me for dinner. Makoto, looking unusually awkward, said, "Grandma, they've already cooked at his house. Let him go back." A little displeased, I said, "Why are you chasing me away? I already told my parents I'd eat at a friend's place." Makoto's grandmother, delighted, said, "Exactly. How can you let a good friend's first visit end without sharing a meal?" I chimed in, "Exactly. Exactly." I grinned as I helped set the table. Makoto stared at my back for a long time, dazed. The meal was warm and lively. Makoto's grandmother liked me a lot, constantly piling food into my bowl. When Makoto walked me downstairs afterward, he still seemed a little embarrassed. Scratching his head, he said, "You probably didn't like the food, right?" I answered, "It was delicious, I loved it. Next time I'll eat here again." Catching his surprised gaze, I smiled and said, "I really do want to be your friend." I continued, "My dad was poor when he was young too. So what? He still relied on himself to become a big boss. I have a good eye for people. Believe me, you and my dad are the same kind of men. You'll definitely achieve great success in the future." Before getting in the car, something occurred to me. I turned my head and said, "If Willow starts causing trouble again, just let me know." Makoto smiled and replied, "All right." Chapter 5. When Willow saw me and Anna hosting on stage together, she finally realized something was wrong. Why hadn't I been hanging around her much anymore? What had I been so busy with lately? Why was my attitude toward her getting more and more perfunctory? At that moment, all the answers became clear to her. During the entire event, that burning gaze of hers nearly pierced straight through me. After it ended, just as I was about to change clothes, Willow yanked me into a corner. She asked, "George, what's going on between you and Anna?" My temper flared up, and I was about to curse at her, but I forced myself to stop. Her family planned to send her abroad after the exams. If I provoked her now, who knew what kind of tantrum she might throw? If she lost her mind and clung to me, I'd be stuck. So I decided to play it safe. I looked at her and put on the old simp act. I coaxed her. "Willow, wasn't it you who told me to chase after Anna? Did you forget?" At that moment, a faint sound came from the doorway. The wind had blown the door open a crack. She puffed her cheeks angrily and snapped. "When did I ever?" But then she stopped, realizing it. Her rage was forced back into her chest. If she lashed out, she'd look bad. If she didn't, she'd look worse. So she could only sneer sarcastically. "Well, you really are something, aren't you?" I replied. Of course, unable to bring herself to take the words back, she just turned her face away, slammed the door, and stormed off. From then on, she threw herself at Makoto even harder, using every trick in the book, playing pitiful, acting weak, until everyone knew about it. I'd call it a performative personality. Makoto's repeated cold rejections only made her more obsessed. She said, "We girls are naturally drawn to strength. I like the way he treats me with indifference. Not like some people, always simping." She said it casually. But her eyes never left me. I had no time to deal with her, because Anna was ignoring me. She stopped replying to my messages. Between classes, she avoided me. It lasted for half a month, as if she wanted to draw a clear line between us. I was so angry I caught a cold, took sick leave, and lay in bed at home for a week. Makoto sent me a message. "Are you all right? Anna's been hinting and asking about you several times. On the surface she looks calm, but honestly, she's about to lose it." "Oh, right." I had blocked her. Expressionless, I replied. "Tell her I'm about to die of illness. She'll never see me again. Don't worry." That night, there was a knock on my bedroom door. Standing outside was Anna, breathing unevenly, ignoring her heaving chest. She raised her hand to feel my forehead, her expression tense, but when she found my face glowing with health, not the slightest hint of weakness, she grew anxious and asked, "What's wrong with you? What illness?" My throat rasped hoarsely from dryness. I sighed and said, "Lovesickness." Anna was speechless. She drew a deep breath, her dark eyes sinking even deeper. At that very moment, the sound of Willow's footsteps echoed from the staircase. Chapter 6. I pulled Anna into the room and locked the door. She lifted her eyes to me, her gaze dim and shadowed, biting her lip. She asked, "Am I someone you can't be seen with?" I hurried to explain. "What are you saying?" "Of course not. It's just, since Willow is always picking on you, I don't want to see her." At her most extreme, Willow had even gone to Anna like some jealous wife warning a mistress, telling her not to get close to Makoto. But she ended up nearly choking on Anna's scornful look. As Willow walked halfway down the hall, my mom called out to her. She said, "Willow, George is already resting. Why don't you come visit another day?" With disappointment in her tone, Willow replied, "Then I'll come tomorrow." As her footsteps faded, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Anna stared at me for a long time, the corners of her lips curling into an arc, yet her eyes held no trace of a smile. She said, "George," I answered. "What is it?" In a cool voice, she asked, "Has anyone ever told you that you're good at sweet talking, saying whatever pleases whoever you're with?" I choked for a moment before countering. "Has anyone ever told you that your moods change constantly, always shifting like the weather?" Just the other day she was fine, and the next she ignored me. Now she stood here as if demanding an explanation. Anna lowered her gaze without replying. She pressed her lips together, then quickly shifted her eyes and changed the subject. She asked, "That photo on the wall, did you take it? What kind of flower is that? It's beautiful." Following her gaze, I looked over. It was a picture I had taken last year while hiking with my parents. A flower blooming on the edge of a cliff. Its scientific name Clematis acerifolia. Proudly, I said. "That's right. That's a true flower on the high mountain," Anna said meaningfully. "I thought you would have picked it as a keepsake." I spread my hands. "It's a nationally protected species. You think I'd break the law?" As I studied her expression, I couldn't help but feel she was speaking with barbs today. So I responded just as pointedly. "Beautiful flowers should grow freely. to be admired from afar but not plucked. But people are different. With a serious tone, I said, Anna, I've given you chances. If you're tired of my pursuit, you could have stayed away from me. But since you came here on your own, doesn't that show your true feelings? That you don't actually dislike my pursuit, or rather, that you also feel something for me. Anna suddenly yielded, throwing herself into my arms. Her light voice was tinged with grievance as she cut me off. Yes, I like you. My eyes widened, my heartbeat quickening little by little. The air stayed quiet for a long moment. Finally, I asked her, then why did you ignore me all this time? But Anna deflected. I figured something out. I asked, what is it? Lifting her gaze to meet mine directly, she let out a soft hum and said, George, I gave you a chance too. From now on, you won't be able to shake me off. Chapter 7. After Anna left, I was still a little dazed. So that's it. I've actually gotten a girlfriend. First time in love. I had no experience. All blame goes to that faint fragrance on her body. It was intoxicating. I only wanted to kiss her, but she burned the bridge after crossing it, pulled away, and told me to focus on preparing for the college entrance exam. Downright cruel. Then my dad pushed the door open, smiling with deep meaning. He said, that girl really cares about you. She ran here all the way. My eyes were full of expectation. I asked, so, what do you and Mom think of her? My dad patted my shoulder, pride in his voice. Good son, you've got sharp eyes. No doubt you're my child. That's clearly a girl with both character and brains. Just now your mom chatted with her downstairs, said she's gentle, kind, understanding, without a single flaw. You two just date properly for now. The rest can be left for later. I was speechless. I said, oh, not at all. It's all thanks to your great teaching. Having such outstanding parents like you two, that's my blessing. He waved it off. Don't flatter me. It's mainly because you're smart. A clever kid like you choosing to be born into our family, that's our blessing. My mom knocked on the door, her voice calm but unable to hide her smile. She teased. Enough with the corporate flattery. Come down and eat some supper. We looked at each other, smiled, and answered together, all right. Back at school, it was still intense review sessions. Anna and Makoto helped me patch up my weaknesses, and my grades improved rapidly. This left Willow and her clique dumbfounded. But they never stopped to think. My parents were top students themselves. How stupid could I possibly be? The only reason I had deliberately stayed in the middle ranks before was because I didn't want to ruin Willow's impression of me. After all, she was the type to easily fall for someone else. And sure enough, the moment my grades rose, she was unhappy. With sarcasm in her tone, she said, you really worked hard to chase Anna. Huh? You actually plan to stay here and go to college with her? I shot back. And why not? Willow's face instantly darkened. She snapped. George, you need to cut ties with her right now. I laughed and said, sorry, can't do that. She was stunned, clearly not expecting my refusal. Biting her lip, she forced the words out one by one. Fine, then don't regret it. She declared that we were no longer friends, and ordered her little clique to ostracize me. I was so happy I couldn't sleep all night. Finally, an excuse to cut ties with that group. But Makoto wasn't so lucky. Willow swore she'd chase him until he agreed. Makoto was so furious he couldn't sleep all night either. So I sent him a little compensation fee. His attitude instantly flipped, and he replied, another beautiful day, thank you, George, my godfather. Chapter 8. The plain yet fast-paced days passed one after another. Amidst the cicadas' chorus of midsummer, the college entrance exam finally ended. The moment I stepped out of the exam hall, my eyes immediately found Anna in the crowd. She was uncharacteristically nervous. How do you feel? She asked, feigning mystery. I replied, you'll only know once you fulfill your girlfriend duties. Anna could really get under someone's skin. Every day she was like a programmed robot, urging me to study, but she gave me no benefits at all. She even said frustrating things like, you study for yourself, not for me. In anger, I went on strike, so she had to reluctantly agree that after the exam, I could do whatever I wanted. And so, in this moment, I handed her the bouquet I had reserved in advance. In front of everyone's shocked gaze, I calmly took her hand. She whispered, this is the school gate, it doesn't look good. I replied, what's the problem? The exam's over. It's not early romance anymore. Then I teased, how about a kiss? To my shock, Anna actually tilted her head up obediently. My pupils trembled. I immediately covered her mouth with my hand. I said, there are too many people here. Besides, how could my first kiss be wasted so casually? Anna seemed to awaken to some new trait. With a smile in her eyes, she suggested, then how about we go somewhere private? Great idea. That evening, I brought her home. My parents threw me a small celebration, inviting Anna, Makoto, and a few good friends I had reverse-filtered before, Since we were all adults now, and with the grown-ups' permission, we opened a bottle of wine. Apparently, I inherited my dad's weak tolerance. Just one small glass and I was already dizzy. The group warmed up quickly, and soon we were playing games. I transferred Makoto a cover fee. He counted the zeros on the screen, his eyes instantly lighting up. With confidence, he declared, "Don't worry, I'll make sure no one disturbs you tonight." Anna was speechless. I pulled Anna with me, staggering through winding corridors, until we reached the pavilion behind the rockery. I said, "No one's here now. Let's kiss." She kept a calm face, but her cheeks were burning red. "George, you're drunk. Go back and sleep." "Okay," she said. I replied. "No way." Anna was at a loss, afraid I might fall, yet also worried I'd cause too much noise. She could only let me hold her. The next second, I cupped her face and kissed her. Too dark. I landed on her nose. The second time, I kissed her upper lip. The third time, it was crooked again. Our breathing grew heavier, the sound of our heartbeats especially loud in the night. Then Anna hooked her arms around my neck, the sweet scent of soap filling the air between us. Half dazed, my hands instinctively traced up along her waist. I couldn't help but sigh. What a perfect feel. And the last thing I remembered was her slightly flustered, reproachful whisper, "Don't move around." Chapter 9. The next day was the class reunion. Several classes had booked the same restaurant. On the terrace, Makoto leaned over and asked, "What did you do to Anna last night?" I've never seen her face that red before in my life. I answered honestly. "I don't know." Even though I blacked out, a strange sense of satisfaction welled up inside me. Judging by the feeling, it must have been a pretty happy night. He said, "Well, you're screwed. I'm out of here." Makoto broke off my train of thought. Looking up, I saw someone I hadn't seen in a long time. Willow, walking over in a custom-fitted evening dress. Some girl squealed, raising her phone to record. "Here she comes. Here she comes." Willow's going to confess to Makoto again. "Girls, do you think the couple I ship will finally get together?" But in the very next second, Makoto treated her like air, swiftly walking past. Willow blocked him, snapping, "I'm giving you one last chance." Makoto replied, "Get lost." And surprisingly, Willow just smiled and stepped aside. Everyone gasped, thinking she had lost her mind, but Willow only said lightly, "There are plenty of guys chasing me. At worst, I'll just marry someone rich. Anyway, I was planning to go abroad with George. This just means I can wrap up the fun and settle down." Her girlfriends, stunned at first, quickly came to a sudden realization. They congratulated me, one after another, for finally getting what I wanted. Even though photos of me holding hands with Anna at the school gate had spread everywhere, they still believed I was only doing it to provoke Willow. After all, I had been her simp since childhood. How could I possibly be with someone else for real? Now that I had finally won her back, surely I was ecstatic. All at once, countless eyes fell on me, and I really was about to lose my mind. Just then, Anna sent me a message. "Last night you got drunk and took full advantage of me, and today you're planning to take her abroad with you. Are you playing with me? Looks like I'll have to pay a visit to your parents and discuss how you mess around and then abandon girls." Oh right, I almost forgot. Anna was very traditional. She really would tattle to my parents. Chapter 10. Seeing me like this, Willow's expression softened slightly, though she still couldn't swallow her pride. She said, Fine. Once we go abroad, you'd better treat me well, spoil me, be tolerant of me, put me first in everything, got it? If you keep making me angry, be careful, I might really ignore you." I looked up, through the noisy crowd, and locked eyes with Anna, who leaned casually against the archway, her gaze cold and clear. Willow frowned, displeased with being ignored. She puffed up angrily and said, "Hey, George, I'm talking to you." I impatiently shoved her aside, snapping, "Get lost, you're blocking me from looking at my girlfriend. Understand?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. Willow stood frozen as she watched me walk toward Anna. She murmured, almost to herself, "Girlfriend." I hadn't intended to respond, but from behind she suddenly broke down and shouted, "Does she even know you only pursued her because of me?" Anna's expression didn't change in the slightest. She even raised her lips in a mocking curve, as if to say, "So what?" Expressionless, I turned back. I said, "Willow, you're so dumb it makes me want to suggest a brain scan to check if your cerebellum is missing. Have you ever considered the possibility that she's the complete opposite of you, and that's why I like her?" She froze, realization dawning, her face instantly draining of color. She stared blankly at my back as I led Anna away, unable to utter a single word. In the corner, two of Anna's friends whispered to each other, "Sophia, what did George mean by that?" The other snorted and replied, "It means there's absolutely no chance he'd ever like Willow, obviously." "Hey, why do you have to push me while you're talking?" The first protested. Clatter. Everyone turned to look. Nearby stood a half-height clown decoration. Sophia chuckled. Oops. Sorry, the clown's red nose just fell to the ground. The entire scene fell into dead silence. Chapter 11. Ever since we left, Anna hadn't said a word. I tested the waters. You don't really think Willow and I teamed up to mess with you, do you? She stopped in her tracks, pinched my arm with a little force, and lowered her gaze. On the day of the school anniversary, I overheard you two in the changing room, she said. You said she was the one who told you to chase me. I thought carefully for a moment, then I said. So that's why you were mad and ignored me. She didn't answer, which was as good as admitting it. I sighed and explained honestly. I only said that because I was afraid she'd cling to me and mess up my exam prep. So I tossed out a random excuse. You've seen it yourself, she doesn't understand human language. The more you reject her, the crazier she gets. A wise man avoids danger. Now that the exam is over, there's no need to care about her anymore. Anna's dark eyes stayed fixed on me. She asked. So you never planned to go abroad with her? I replied. Of course not. Afraid she wouldn't believe me. I even pulled out my phone and showed her the chat list. I already blocked her. Check for yourself. Anna took it, but the more she scrolled, the darker her face grew. She read aloud. Maria, female, likes movies. Alicia, female, likes novels. David, male, likes law. Makoto, male, likes money. Cold sweat trickled down my back. They're just friends, I stammered. We only exchanged good luck messages for the exam. These were all quality connections I'd built over the years. Whenever I came across people who didn't get along with Willow's clique, I would quietly get to know them. If I met someone struggling financially, I'd help them. If I saw someone bullied, I'd stand up for them. If someone had psychological troubles, I'd comfort them. Without realizing it, I had built up quite a sustainable network of friends. It was easy to predict they would all shine in different fields someday. Anna gave a cold snort. And what note did you give me, then? Guiltily, I scrolled up to the pinned chat. Perfect score, crush girl. Her brows slowly relaxed, the corner of her lips just starting to curve upward, when suddenly, her expression froze again. A new message popped up. Gio, do you plan to date anyone once you get into college? Anna let out a cold hum. You sure are popular. Huh. With a stiff face, she locked my phone screen. I asked. Are you mad? Rolling her eyes, she said. It's normal for people to like you. Why would I be mad? I quickly said. How about we eat? Anywhere you want. Your choice. I hailed a cab. Anna slipped her fingers naturally between mine. Holding tight, she said. Let's eat at your place. As your girlfriend, I need to officially visit your home. After your place, we'll go to mine, she added. At this point, you'd better give me a proper title. I was speechless. So what exactly did I do last night? Chapter 12. After I posted a group photo on WeChat of me, Anna, and a few good friends, they finally realized the truth. Turns out I had only ever used Willow as a sieve to filter people. All the friends I made were those who had clashed with her before. When I was planning the graduation trip, Willow suddenly barged into my house, eyes red, choking up. She asked, George, did you ever like me? The bodyguards were about to step forward. I waved them off, smiling playfully as I said, do you think anyone in their right mind would like a girl who spreads false rumors of sexual harassment just because a teacher criticized her? And who, after growing up, spends her days leading campaigns at school to attack men? Tears welled in Willow's eyes. Her voice was urgent. But I never did that to you, I sneered. You wouldn't dare. It wasn't that she hadn't tested my limits. Back in middle school, when I snapped back at her a few times, she immediately put me on the school forum. The next day, her father slapped her face so swollen she could barely recognize herself. From then on, Willow understood. The control had never been in her hands, but I still treated her as if nothing had happened. Gradually, Willow fell into the delusion that I was madly in love with her. That was fine. I didn't care what she thought. I only cared about the tangible benefits she brought me. To me, Willow's role was just like a cannon fodder villain in a novel. Whoever she disliked was bound to be a future protagonist. The kind even my parents would click their tongues and praise. It was a delightful surprise every time. Willow searched my face and couldn't find a trace of insincerity. At last, she lowered her head, looking so distraught she could barely stand straight. Choking on her words, she said, I'm sorry, but I really do like you. I never thought we would separate. On that once proud face, only humble pleading remained. Pitifully, she said, please, give me one more chance. I'll change everything. We can go abroad and start over. Okay. She tried to come closer, but the bodyguards lifted her up and dragged her away. I've always said, feeling that good about yourself is an illness. Even now, she still believed I would take her abroad. She was beyond saving. Chapter 13. I overperformed and barely scraped into University B. It was close to University C, where Anna and Makoto enrolled, just one street apart. I heard Willow didn't want to go abroad, but her father Lou forced her onto a plane and even confiscated her passport. Without me as a connection, he seemed to despise his brainless daughter more and more. It looked like he was considering permanently throwing Willow overseas. As if deleting her and starting a new account. Tragic, but honestly, I was miserable too. College life wasn't as easy as the teachers claimed. Not only did I have to deal with an endless load of coursework, I also had to intern across different departments in the company during my free time. After all, I was the only heir to a vast family business. I was spinning like a top. After work, a sweet-looking female colleague stopped me. "Gio, do you have any plans after work?" she asked. Her cheeks were slightly flushed as she stood shyly in front of me. "Going along politely," I replied. "I'm having dinner with my girlfriend." Normally, that would have been enough for someone to back off, but she continued following me into the elevator. "Is your girlfriend also at University B?" she asked. Then, forcing a coquettish tone, she added, "Could I meet this sister of mine? I want to know what kind of girl dear George likes." Ding! The elevator doors opened, and Anna was standing right outside, wearing a simple knit dress in an academic style. She looked fresh and elegant, almost ethereal. The string of exams had left her tired. Her brows furrowed, but the moment she saw me, they softened instantly. With practiced ease, she slipped on purpose and fell straight into my arms. The colleague who had just wanted to meet her now froze with a stiff smile. Then quickly muttered an excuse and ran away. Anna looked up at me. She asked, "Which number vixen is this?" Since I joined the company, she'd already lost count. I was used to it by now. "You think I'd give them a chance?" I said casually. "We've been together so long, and I've held back all this time. Do I look like the kind of man who can't control himself?" It was true, Anna and I had never gone further. How to put it? I knew Anna valued her chastity above all else. So every time things grew intense, even when I was about to explode, I chose instead to take a cold shower. That night, under the evening breeze, I held her comfortably in my arms. Half drowsy, I suddenly heard Anna say, "George, should you maybe see a doctor?" I was speechless. My steps halted. After a pause, I laughed and said, "Anna." She answered softly, "What is it?" I said. "I secured Chan's investment." Her eyes widened, as if giving a reward. She grabbed my face and kissed me hard several times. "Wow, amazing," she said. Thanks to the network I had built through filtering via Willow, the company had grown rapidly this past year, even establishing a department dedicated to large-scale AI model development. Achieving impressive results. Anna cut into my daydreams. "But don't change the subject. I'm really thinking about your health." I sighed helplessly. Fine, I'll go see a doctor." She nodded. "Good." Chapter 14. Wake up, Anna. The curtains were yanked open with a swish. Hearing that familiar voice, she struggled to open her eyes and said, "Sophia, aren't you abroad? Why did you suddenly come back?" Her skin was a little tanned, but she looked more confident and composed than ever. She said, "I couldn't get used to the food overseas. I missed going shopping and having meals with you too much." That sounded convincing enough. She pulled Anna out of bed and even invited a professional stylist over to doll her up. Looking at her reflection in the mirror, every strand of hair carefully styled, Anna quickly became clear-headed. A vague premonition stirred in her mind, until Sophia led her to the beach, decorated in a dreamy, romantic way. At sunset, the sky was painted with pink and orange hues, so beautiful it seemed unreal. Not far away, Makoto held a camera, quietly recording everything. With the sea breeze blowing, George slowly walked toward her. Then, dropping to one knee, "Anna, are you ready to spend the rest of your life with me?" Inside the ring box was a diamond engagement ring he had designed himself, shaped like the letter A, for Anna alone. George thought he had hidden it well, but Anna had known all along. Just like she had always known George would be her lifelong partner. Was she ready to spend the rest of her life with him? Anna said. Of course. Her answer came without hesitation. They embraced beneath the sunset. Both sets of parents looked on with relief and joy, while cheers and blessings from friends and family filled the air. There was no moment more perfect than this. Chapter 15. But there was something more. That night, Anna came to my room on her own. I rolled over and pinned her beneath me. I asked, "Miss Anna, do you know what it means to walk into the tiger's den? Do you really think I'll let you go tonight?" But she only closed her eyes and said, "Go ahead." Suspicious. I slid my hand around her waist. Anna's lips pressed tightly together, her posture entirely one of surrender. Something was wrong. She wasn't resisting me at all this time. I swallowed hard, strangely nervous. Just then, Makoto sent me the photos he had taken during the proposal. I quickly rolled off, sat up straight, and said seriously, I need to pick out the photos. You go ahead and rest. Something was definitely off about Anna tonight. I had the distinct feeling that if I didn't retreat now, the consequences would be dire, but she clung to me like an octopus, repeating my own words back at me with a provocative look. Do you really think I'll let you go tonight? The pool's rippling reflections shimmered across the wall, and I couldn't tell whether it was the light swaying or Anna. Sweat poured down my face as I forced out each word. Didn't you say you wouldn't let me off? Then why are your lips sealed so tight now? Exhausted and overwhelmed, Anna nearly burst into tears, choking back sobs. She said, George, I want to sleep. I kissed her sweat-dampened forehead and said, no rush. It's still early. Anna glanced at the time, about to get angry. But I lifted her gently by the waist and asked, weren't you the one who told me to see a doctor? She shook her head. No need. No need. You're perfectly healthy. I guided her hand over my burning skin and teased with a laugh. How can you be sure without a checkup, Dr. Anna? Anna was speechless. Chapter 16. Married life remained calm and steady. For our honeymoon, we returned to our old school. After the college entrance exam, I had wanted to bring the fat orange cat home, but there had been too many people feeding it, and it was gone in a flash. Revisiting the place, I asked, Anna, back then, when you avoided me, did you have something on your mind? No longer the shy girl she once was, Anna said slowly. At the time, I was thinking, knowing full well that your intentions weren't pure, yet still letting my heart fall for you so quickly, wasn't that just being a hopeless romantic? She sighed and fell into my arms. She said, but the moment you carried me on your back, when my heartbeat nearly stopped, I knew then, I'd already lost to you, and I was sweetly willing. She whispered, husband, I love you.